Week 8, my friends. Welcome into the Early Edge NFL Prop Show, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Make it legendary. I'm here in the Florida studios with Uncle Dave Richards. We have Sia joining us, as well as Alex, PropStarz sales Nick. How we doing, guys? It's crazy that we're already at Week 8. I know we have our NFL pick show earlier in the week. Today, it's all about props. We're going to get into our records and all that. But Proppy, I feel like you've been hot for 8 weeks straight. How you feeling heading into this one?
Feeling good, Claudia. I live for the NFL. We love props. It's been a solid season so far. Still have my sights set on improving here, really from a process standpoint. That's what I'm looking to do. It's important not to be results oriented. As long as your process, you feel strong that it's working out. I don't have a lot of props this week, and that's due in large part to 6 teams being on bye. There's also quite a few injuries as well. I think this is a good opportunity really to discuss. This is not a spot where you want to force having a lot of picks here. I really think it's wise to pick and choose your spots. There are going to be some weeks that are more plentiful than others, and you should never force out picks just to have action for the sake of having action. So yeah, I think it's important to remember quality over quantity.
And that is on sports betting education. With that, let's take a look at our records going back to last week and overall so far this season. Proppy, like I said, he has been hot, 21-14. And the rest of us, well, we're just chugging along, folks. And guess what? New week, new plays, new games, new players. Let's jump right into it with the passing
Not even a comment about how you did last week, Claudia?
Oh, yeah. I did 3. Oh, well, I don't know, Dave, if you want to talk about it.
Well, listen, it was awesome. We had a showdown bet. You won that, clearly. And this is now 2 of 3 weeks where you've been undefeated. So I'm very proud of you, my degenerate niece, for kicking some butt with the player props. And look.
We got to fix, first of all, if I'm going to speak up, it's going to be here, the showdown record. I won.
Yeah, you won. It should be 1-1 for you.
Yeah, I mean, technically, you went against all 3 of my bets.
Technically, it should be 3-1 for Claudia.
Thank you.
If I'm not mistaken, it was not a double, but a triple showdown.
It was a triple showdown in that whoever got 2 of 3, or in this case, 3 of 3 right, won the showdown.
Okay. Well, Proppy, I like where your head's at, but it's fine. I did well. I agree, though, this week was very difficult. I know across the board, it seems like we all sort of struggled to find plays that we liked with the injuries, with the buys, but also these numbers have just been run up. We'll talk about it when it comes to running backs specifically. A lot of great matchups with the top running backs in the league, but these numbers have been jacked up. Let's start with quarterbacks first, though. My guy, Drake May, with the Patriots, leading the league in completion percentage, leading the league in passer rating. Do y'all know where he is in MVP odds right now? Can anybody take a guess? Where he ranks? 3rd. You're right, Sia. 3rd.
Wow.
Behind only Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Sia, talk to me about Drake May.
Well, listen, this is one of the props I hit last week. I had him over 1.5 touchdown passes. He did that in the first half. And what's so funny about the Drake May experience is that New England's your team is just like blowing out these teams. So Drake May doesn't really have to do anything in the second half. I like him. You talked about his efficiency, his completion percentage. I like him here over 19.5 completions. Now, the first thing that you're going to say here is, okay, well, this is the Cleveland Browns. This is a different defense than the Patriots have played before, and that's absolutely true. But what I do think that means is that the pass rush is going to get to Drake May, and what that further means is that he's going to get the ball out fast in the short area. So I like him over 19.5 completions. Normally, you would see this prop for Drake May against like a substandard defense or an average defense. You'd see it at around 21.5, maybe 22.5, depending on game script. This is a low line because it's the Cleveland Browns, but what it's not anticipating is that the Patriots are not going to be able to run the ball against the Browns. That means it's going to be the Drake May show. Yeah, maybe some of those long bombs aren't going to be there, but the short area is. Give me over 19.5 completions at -122.
Uncle Dave. Yeah. Proppy, you want to go first? How do you feel about Drake May?
I do. I just want to say I absolutely love this look from Sia. I really think this is the correct category to attack for Drake May. I thought Sia really laid it out well. This particular matchup against the Cleveland Browns, they're a significant pass funnel. It's twofold. One hand, they have an exceptional rush defense. The Patriots have not been effective running the football. They are not going to be able to run on the Cleveland Browns. I also have confidence in Josh McDaniels to draw up plays, and Drake May has been exceptional when under pressure. That's twofold, as I mentioned. The reason this is a soft matchup or a matchup that Drake May is going to throw the football is because they have an excellent pass rush, but Drake May is first in EPA per dropback on quick pressure. Quick pressure is when he's forced to get the ball out, or any quarterback's forced to get the ball out in under 2.5 seconds. So no quarterback has dealt with quick pressure more effectively than Drake May. I really believe when Josh McDaniels is building this game plan for this Browns opponent, that they're going to pass heavy. Whether or not the Browns can keep up with the Patriots in the third and fourth quarter, I'm not sure about that. But I do think that when it's a competitive game environment, we're going to see Drake May throw the football and get rid of the ball very quickly against this elite Browns pass rush. I absolutely love this spot from Sia. This is a bet I'm also going to make as well.
I agree. This is a sharp look, and we know that Jim Schwartz is the one calling the shots for this defense in Cleveland. Hey, what if I told you guys that there was a coach who worked under Jim Schwartz last year and had Jim Schwartz on his staff for 2 years prior to that? You guys might be interested in that coach. It's Mike Vrabel. It's the head coach of the New England Patriots. He knows exactly what this defense is all about, and I think the quick passing game is absolutely going to be a big part of what they do. Put a pin in that topic because we're going to revisit it later. It's about who Drake May throws to when he's under pressure and against man coverage. So stay tuned.
That's called a tease in the biz. And I just want to say I'm very happy. I think we've talked about Drake May every single week leading up to week 8.
He's the unofficial favorite quarterback of this show.
I don't think it's going to stop. Let's talk about another quarterback, though, that everybody is talking about. Jackson Dart out there in New York with the Giants. I'm looking at his passing yards. Game script works well here. They're catching 7.5 against this Eagles squad. Eagles allowing over 221 a game. We've seen Baker. We've seen Nix. We've seen Wentz cash this over. Stafford missed by just 2 yards, and he's hitting this consistently. I know the weapons aren't ideal. They're dealing with some injuries. But game script wise, he's having to hit this number. He had 2-2 against the Saints, coming off 283 against a good Denver defense. 195. It is. They didn't look very good last week, but he did have 283 against them. 195 the week before that. Again, game script works, and he is consistently cashing this. He has in 3 of his last 4 games. See, I'm going to come to you first. Thoughts on Jackson Dart?
This one is really interesting because from a game script standpoint, I really don't have a lot to say because, first of all, A.J. Brown, I don't know if he's going to play in this game. I just wonder what the back and forth is going to be like in this game. Can I just tell you that it's the other prop that you have that I absolutely love? So I'm just going to be hands off on this one.
Yeah, pass it
the
on.
Other prop, the touchdown prop, I absolutely love, so I'll wait for you to give that one out.
Okay, there's another teaser for you guys. Uncle Dave, talk to me about Jackson Dart.
I honestly, I think that he's going to see a much tougher matchup this time around against Philadelphia. The first time, think about it, there was no Jalen Carter on that defensive line for the Eagles. Quinyon Mitchell got hurt in the game. They had a bunch of other cornerback injuries. I think Vic Fangio's defense will do what they do, and what they're designed to do is pressure the quarterback with only 4 guys. They don't like to blitz a lot, and they can't blitz this guy a lot because he'll take off and run, and then they play zone coverage behind. So if he's going to go over this, he's going to need to throw a lot. It's going to be kind of a dink and dunk type thing because I don't think he's got the horses who can catch a pass and then add a ton of yak to it like he did the first time around.
Yeah.
That being said, I think I'd like the over on his pass attempts more than the yardage.
I was just gonna say that,
both could hit, especially because I think Philadelphia will be able to build a lead. I think they have a hard time running the football consistently, and that's going to lead to the Giants having the ball a decent amount of the time and Jackson Dart having to throw it a good amount of that time as well.
I did teeter between the attempts and the yards.
What was the number for the attempts?
I can't remember now. I'll check it. But
It
probably
has to
maybe are
be
we
like
leaning
north of 32.
more towards attempts?
Yeah,
you
I think 33.5 maybe.
Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, I probably would have taken the over on that.
Proppy, you were nodding your head. You seem to agree when it comes to the defense he'll be facing.
I would throw the first matchup out the window. As Dave mentioned, No Jalen Carter, who's one of the best interior disruptors in the NFL. With and without him, the Eagles' defense looks completely different. Quinyon Mitchell, the difference between him and Adoree Jackson is also significant as well. So this is a much different Eagles defense. It's also in Philadelphia versus that being a home game in the first matchup. I do think there's major concerns with the Giants' weapons as well. I just don't really think they have reliable pass catchers outside of Wan'Dale Robinson for this New York team. Also, the Philadelphia Eagles defense has been a run funnel. Their run defense has been soft. So I do think Cam Scatterbo is going to get quite a bit of looks. While this is a competitive game environment, I do wonder how much Jackson Dart is going to drop back and throw. So I do agree if it was a Jackson Dart prop that I would back, it would be his attempts. I like actually the under on this particular play.
Yeah.
31.5 is the attempts, real quick. I want to correct myself. 31.5. Claudia.
Yeah. And if you shop, you can actually find a few 30 in the hooks as well. So maybe after all of this discussion, that's the way we go. Giants are banged up in the secondary as well. So maybe this game gets away from them.
There's a little disagreement there
and he has to throw the ball.
You and Proppy.
I'm
just saying.
But the problem is, I don't really love it enough to do a showdown. So guess what? We're going to move on. And I do have another quarterback play that I really like, but I'm going to give that to you guys in overtime. When we come back, we're running through our rushing props, and you'll never guess how high that man's number is. Welcome back to the Early Edge, running through our favorite props for Week 8 here with Sia, Dave, Alex. I'm Claudia, and I am looking at Jonathan Taylor's yardage for this week. His line, y'all, set as high as 102.5. 102 in the hook I'm seeing. Mostly 100s yesterday. People don't even care, Proppy. This man leading the league in rushing. Nobody can stop him. Game script works great this week. Great matchup defensively. People don't care. They're still going over this number.
They are indeed. And you know why? It's because this offense is just firing on all cylinders right now. This Shane Steichen offense has just been absolutely exceptional. They're incredibly efficient running the football. They're incredibly efficient passing the football. The play action has been unbelievable as well. So this Colts offense is extremely impressive. You couple that with a fantastic matchup against a Titans defense, 28th in EPA allowed per rush, and they're going to be without Jeffrey Simmons. Jeffrey Simmons is far and away not only their best defensive player, but their best run stopper by a significant margin. So this is a fantastic, mouth-watering matchup for Jonathan Taylor. Also, considering their double-digit favorites as well, you do anticipate a healthy workload. I do worry about this game getting out of hand in the event that they're up 10 to 14 points or more heading into the fourth quarter. Do they really want to give Jonathan Taylor more than 20 carries? But he's only going to need 15 to 18, in my opinion, to potentially crack triple digits here. So great spot for Taylor and the Colts offense.
Yeah, and to be up by 14 is what odds makers are expecting. This line set at 14 in the hook. I think that's the biggest spread we've seen so far this season. And just for comparison, before we move on to another running back that's been crushing, we saw this at 90.5 in week 3 in this first matchup against the Titans. So that's how much the books have adjusted. Bijan Robinson, another guy that has been cashing his overs consistently. Dolphins, Falcons laying 7.5 here. Sia. Again, it's high at 88.5, but maybe not high enough.
Yeah, and 88.5 is the lowest spot you can find it over at our partners here at BetMGM. It's at 92.5 in some places, 90.5 in others. I do like the over here. The reason I haven't made it an official play yet is I'm waiting to hear the Tyler Algier news. I'm kind of hoping he has a full practice, because if he does, I could see maybe this line coming down like a yard or two, because I know there's a lot of momentum for Tyler Algier. But remember, he had to leave last game, at least for a little bit, with his hip and I believe knee injury. So I kind of want to see where that's at. I want to thread the needle here, though. I want to take his rushing attempt under. This assumes Tyler Algier is healthy. His rushing attempt under of 17.5. I want to take his rushing yards over of 88.5. And I also want to take his longest rush over of, I believe it's 18 or 19 and a half. So honestly, I think all three of those could hit, but certainly if you had just played the rush attempts under and the rushing yardage over, one of those two was most definitely going to hit in my opinion. So I do think Bijan's going to have a great game against the Miami Dolphins defense. And I do think he probably comes over his yards, but I don't necessarily think if Tyler Algier is healthy, he gets a full allotment of the carries that we're expecting in that 18 to 20 range. And while I'm at it, this Jonathan Taylor thing, I really like his under 20 and a half carries. It's 20 and a half in a lot of places. If this is going to be a 14-point deficit late in the game, I think this would be the one game where you'd actually give Jonathan Taylor some series off here. So under 20 and a half while still eclipsing that 102 and a half makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and he's only had 21 and 25. Everything else 17, 16, 18 like Proppy, and you just said, Sia, he doesn't need to carry the ball that many times to hit the rushing because of how explosive he has been. We're talking a lot of overs here. That's bad juju. We need at least one under. Uncle Dave, you're going to give us that with Patrick Mahomes, who you and I both have been going over. He's burned us a few times. He's cashed a few times. You're looking at rush yards specifically against a Washington squad that's a 12.5-point dog.
Yeah, and I just think that game script is going to favor Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball, not necessarily running the ball. The number's 25 and a half. I like the under at minus 114. And it sounds crazy because he's been over this 3 straight games, but we're seeing a little bit of a philosophical shift with how the Kansas City Chiefs offense has been going. Rashee Rice is back. Last week, he was back. He was himself. He was getting a ton of targets. He made huge plays. We know what to expect from him. That's somebody who's an extension of the run game for Kansas City. And speaking of the run game, Isaiah Pacheco's been back over the last 2 games. He's looked a little bit better. Certainly it appears that he's the lead back, not Kareem Hunt, and Brashard Smith has started to take some work away. So why would Patrick Mahomes risk it and run the football a bunch in a game where he shouldn't have to? The Commanders' defense, their run defense isn't great. Their pass defense isn't great either. This should be a game where Kansas City can just throw the football, lean on Patrick Mahomes there, and maybe even lean on Pacheco a little bit too. His rushing over-under is around 50 and a half. I don't hate that over, and I love this under for Patrick Mahomes. Count him for passing, not for running. Under 25 and a half rushing yards at minus 114.
Proppy, any thoughts on Pat Mahomes?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I thought Dave made a very compelling case regarding Mahomes. I just really don't see him having to manufacture many rushing yards by putting himself at risk against an opponent like Washington as well. They're basically pick your poison for this Chiefs offense. They're really firing on all cylinders. Having Rashee Rice back, watching the ascension of Breeland as well. He's looked very good in that sort of Jerick McKinnon role. And then, yeah, I would agree with Dave regarding Isaiah Pacheco. He started to look like the guy who looked like he was going to be the Chiefs feature back prior to the injury that cost him most of last season. So I do look at this Chiefs offense, and they look dynamic right now. I just don't think we're going to see many designed runs or even Mahomes really having to scramble very much.
Obviously, I agree. We've seen 2 games this year where quarterbacks have put up a lot of rushing yards against the Commanders. Justin Herbert had like 60 yards. Russell Wilson had 44 yards. Turned back the clock game for him. Those were games where those quarterbacks were trailing. It's a 12.5-point spread. Is that what we just heard? Does anybody think that the Kansas City Chiefs will be trailing against the Commanders on Monday night? I certainly don't think so. I think it lends itself to Mahomes not having to run the football that much.
We have seen some crazy things. I will say 8 weeks in, but of course, no, Jaden Daniels certainly hurts that case there. Let's talk about another quarterback when it comes to rushing, Bo Nix. I debated between going yards because it was pretty low, but carries feels a little bit safer at 5.5, and you're getting plus money at plus 115. He's coming off a near 50-yard rush game to the Giants, so his yardage was around 24. I still think that's possible, but back-to-back 5-carry games, 5 or more carries in 5 of 7, and he's facing a Cowboys squad that's allowing the most quarterback rush attempts per game, over 6. And it's not only scrambles, which he ranks 8th most in, but it's also some design runs. We saw 3 design plays for him last week alone. So I think a mix of the both. I don't know how much pressure he's going to be seeing, but overall, when this team plays at its best, he is mobile. They're a 3.5-point favorite in this game. And the Cowboys have looked good, so the odds makers are giving them some respect. And again, I just think this offense moves the best when he is mobile. I'm going to go over 5.5 carries. It's a little nerve-wracking, Sia, because when you get the plus money, that means odds makers are like, okay, we don't really love it, but I'm saying I like it, Sia.
Yeah, and I think Bo Nix has to rely on his legs a little bit in a game that could be a back-and-forth shootout. But also, let's be honest about the Bo Nix experience. I mean, he's not exactly crushing it with his arm. Like, it hasn't really been there. So if this is going to be a back-and-forth game, Bo Nix is going to have to play that desperation card on some of these downs. He's going to have to scramble. Yeah, maybe some design runs. I could absolutely see him scramble for 5, 6, maybe 7 rush attempts here. I like it. I like this game in general for props, by the way.
Okay, producer Sean, do we have time for one more? Can we talk Chase Brown? All right, Dave, let's do it. Chase Brown over on rush yards. What you got there?
I absolutely love it. 54.5 rush yards. And Chase Brown, he's been terrible. Everybody that drafted him in fantasy has been super disappointed in him. But he's only been over in one game this year, but he hasn't taken on the Jets yet, and that's who he takes on in week number 8. It's the first time, I think, since week 1 that the Bengals go into a game and you can feel like, all right, they have a chance to win this one. Now, last week, different story. I don't think anybody really gave him much of a puncher's chance against the Steelers. And look at what he did. Even if you take away his best run against the Steelers, he averaged 7.1 yards per carry. The efficiency for Brown has actually been through the roof. 4 yards per carry or better in 3 of his past 4 games. Those games were against the Broncos, the Packers, the Steelers. These are good run defenses. The Jets are not quite as good of a run defense. They are expected to get Quincy Williams back at linebacker. That'll help them. But I think their offense just isn't good enough. Yes, even against Cincinnati. And there will be opportunities for Chase Brown to rack up rushing yards. I would have taken the over on the rush attempts, but we have seen him lose some snap share to Samaje Perine. It does tend to be a pass-run split between the two of them, but I just didn't want to take that chance. I'm going to bet on his efficiency, even if he only gets 12, 13 carries in the game, over 54.5 rush yards. This is my favorite player prop of the week.
Don't I know it? People weren't betting him against the Steelers because I actually bet his under because he was averaging 3.3 yards a carry. He was one of the worst running backs in the NFL production-wise, and then he decided to put up 100 on me. That was really fun.
Yeah, that offensive line, especially at guard, starting to play a little bit better for Cincinnati.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move on. We've got wide receivers and tight ends. Tight end week, baby. That's coming up right here after the break on The Early Edge. Did you know this Sunday it's going to be National Tight Ends Day, and last National Tight Ends Day we saw 16 touchdowns from tight ends. NFL record 177 catches by tight ends in a single day. Will they reproduce that this week? We will see. I was going to start with Stephon Diggs, but we have to start with the tight end, so let's just go to another Patriots player. Dave, I'm going to come to you first
Patriots player.
with my guy Hunter Henry under. Wait a second. Why are we going under here?
Now you don't want to talk about it because it's under?
That's
We're
fine.
going under Hunter Henry, 36.5 yards, minus 111 from the pals at BetMGM. Look, 3 tight ends have had 36 or more yards against Cleveland this year. There's Laporta, there's Hawkinson, and there's Darnell Washington on a broken play. They've shut down Tucker Kraft. Mark Andrews has gone under. And what do we know about Cleveland? We talked about this earlier in the show. They're very aggressive with their pass rush. They play a lot of man-to-man coverage. In these specific situations, May has not gone to Hunter Henry with the football. He's gone to Stephon Diggs. He's actually gone to Ramondre Stevenson a lot when they're playing man, when he's pressured. He's getting that ball out quick, and it's not Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry's best games have come when he sees a lot of zone coverage. Think about that Raiders game earlier in the year, the Steelers game earlier in the year. Those are games where Hunter Henry had big numbers. It was zone coverage that he did most of his damage against. And how about this? In 5 wins for the Patriots this year, Hunter Henry has 5 or fewer targets in each game, 3 or fewer catches in 4 of the 5. So I kind of like the under on his receptions as well. But I think his best stat games in New England losses, this isn't going to be one of them. They're taking on the Browns. I don't think Cleveland can compete on the scoreboard. I think the yardage will be limited for him. I think the opportunities will be limited for him. And we're going to see the New England Patriots throw to other people. It's Drake May who's going to be throwing to people, not the Patriots in general. And that's why the under is in play for Hunter Henry, even on National Tight Ends Day.
See, I saw you shaking your head at first. Was that a subconscious thing? Do you disagree, agree?
No, I just think it's a little insulting. First, he insults my Washington Commanders like they can't hang with the Chiefs, and then he insults your Patriots by leading the segment with a Hunter Henry under. I just think it's disrespectful. That's all.
That's fair. That's fair enough. But he's saying that we might blow him out, which we're going to because we're the best team in football right now with the best quarterback in football who's going to be throwing to Stephon Diggs. And as I talked about a few weeks ago, the best connection between quarterback and wide receiver when it comes to completion percentage of any duo in the league. So talk to me about why we're going over on Diggs propping.
Yeah, this is a sneaky good matchup for Stephon Diggs. As Dave mentioned, this Cleveland Browns defense, first and foremost, we talked about this. They're a significant pass funnel. It's twofold. One, because they have an excellent pass rush, and they pair that with an elite run defense. So I do think we're going to see the Patriots attack them through the air. But when pressure gets home, Drake May gets rid of the football effectively and quickly, and he targets Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs has a 3.5 yards per route run under quick pressure. So that is a great sign. Also, the Browns play man coverage at the highest rate in the league, 41%. Stephon Diggs, throughout his career and this season, has been absolutely brilliant against man coverage. He's been the fourth best receiver in the NFL as far as yards per route run against man coverage. So this matchup looks very good for Stephon Diggs. Also, the Browns don't double team whatsoever. I believe the second lowest rate double teaming in the NFL. So this one checks all the boxes for me regarding Stephon Diggs. I like his receptions line. I like his yardage. And this could be a potential ceiling game for Diggs here.
Just to wrap it all up in a nice, pretty bow, when I did my research for Hunter Henry, I checked out what the target per route run rates were for May overall, against man coverage, against pressure, against man coverage with pressure. Stephon Diggs was first or second every single time. Doesn't matter the situation, when there's man coverage and or pressure, this dude's getting the ball a ton. And by the way, entering last week, the Browns were number one in man coverage at 45%. They played nothing but zone coverage last week against the Dolphins. You'd have to ask Jim Schwartz why. I'd be shocked if they did that again this week.
And Patriots making their way up the leaderboard when we're talking Super Bowl. I'm just saying, people. AFC East for sure. CeeDee Lamb is the next one we're going to go to with you, Sia. And I'm looking at his numbers now. Every game that he's played, he's put up 100 yards.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, I don't think, especially in this offense with a hot quarterback and a defense in Denver that's very good, but maybe slightly overrated, I just don't think you're stopping CeeDee Lamb. I think he, regardless of who he plays, he's going to get his. I like his over 73.5 receiving yards. And again, I touched on some of the points I wanted to make. Dak Prescott's playing great. This has a reasonably, actually quite a high total in terms of what they think the game score is going to be here. And when you look at like Patrick Surtain and shadow coverage and things of that nature, the cool thing about CeeDee Lamb is they use him all over the formation. They use him outside. They use him in the slot. They are going to scheme targets to the best player on the field, and that is CeeDee Lamb. So 73.5 receiving yards, it's a little high against a formidable defense on the road, but at the same time, this is CeeDee Lamb. I think 80 plus is where we probably should be with CeeDee Lamb, almost regardless of the matchup. And again, the way Dak is playing, the way I think the path to success against Denver is going to be through the pass versus the run in this game, I think CeeDee Lamb is going to be the primary target. Maybe guys like Pickens and Ferguson get theirs, but I think they're going to be more limited than the superstar in Lamb.
Yeah, and again, every single game he's played, he had 110 on just 5 catches against Washington. So this is a number that certainly feels doable for him. I'm going to talk about another tight end in Tucker Kraft, over 50 in the hook. And head coach Matt LaFleur talked about in the offseason, one big goal for them was to get him more opportunities in the intermediate and downfield. And that's what we have seen with him this season. He's the squad's leading receiver right now, and he's their guy in the end zone. He's tied for the team lead in touchdowns. fourth highest team target share of any tight end in the NFL right now, averaging over 14 yards a catch. Talking about those deeper throws, we saw him have 124 yards. A tight end put up 124, and maybe this just says something about the Washington's defense, because again, it was against the Commanders, but still, he's coming off I'm just saying, he's coming off a 10-target game. It is what it is, and c'est la vie. Steelers, one of the weaker defenses against tight ends, specifically allowing over 6 catches, over 8 targets, 5th most yards, over 67. So 50.5 does feel a bit high for a tight end, but not for Tucker Kraft and how big of a part he is in this passing game. Proppy, do you agree with me, or I can't tell?
Claudia, I've been waiting for this moment. I do not agree with you. I would like to present a showdown to you, Claudia.
Okay. I swept last week, baby. Bring it on.
Okay, now we can put our excellent showdown records head-to-head against each other. Tucker Kraft, excellent football player. No argument there, but I would contend that he's a massive regression candidate. He's run extremely hot this season on limited targets, potentially Christian Watson back as well. This is a low volume passing attack, a run first offense. And he, again, has run extremely hot if we look at his expected points per game. So he's one of my favorite regression candidates. And I think this is a good spot to fade him personally. So if you're a willing dance partner, Claudia, I would love to showdown you.
Can I just say, Dave is a little too excited over here. He didn't stop smiling.
I knew what was coming by the sound of the breath that Proppy made before he started talking. Sia probably knew it too. We both knew that this was coming. Just based on that, it's incredible.
That's fine.
I'm just excited to be a part of a showdown that doesn't involve me losing.
I do want to just remind everybody, if you missed last week, Dave hated every single one of my props.
Hated is a strong word.
And I cashed every single one of them. Just saying. But this does make me a little afraid. You guys just showdowns back-to-back weeks. But hey, that's part of the game. We're going to play it. Me and Proppy going head-to-head on Tucker Kraft. That's fine. We got a few more props in this section, but we're going to bring it into overtime and hit any other prop we may have missed. I got to talk Dak Prescott. We're going to do all of that and more. And, of course, stick around for the very end of the show, because we're going to talk best bets, and maybe we'll glaze Drake May a little bit more. I don't know. We'll see. It is time for overtime, hitting on any of the props we may have missed, whether it's passing, rushing, or receiving. Sia, I'm going to come to you first. You have Malik Washington over on catches.
Yeah, we're going to take over 3.5 receptions, which sounds like a lot for a guy named Malik Washington. But when you look at this Dolphins offense, I just don't know where they're going to go. Now that Darren Waller is out, we know Tyreek Hill is out. Jalen Waddle, a little banged up. We got to monitor this Friday practice report. He's probably going to play. Outside of that, though, I think it's going to be a lot of guys like Malik Washington. What I love about the receptions versus the yards is that they use Malik Washington in the short area almost exclusively. For the record, they use him as a kick returner as well, which doesn't make me super happy with this play. But over 3.5 receptions in a negative game script against Atlanta in good conditions, it checks all the boxes for me. It's a lot for, again, a guy named Malik Washington, but he's starting to get the targets, and in the short area, Tua's going to have to rely on him.
No disrespect to any other Malik Washingtons out there. Sia hating on the name. Proppy, I'm going to come to you for a little Evan Ingram.
Indeed, yeah. We're going to back Evan Ingram over 30.5 receiving yards. Evan Ingram coming off of a season high 66% route participation last week. He's eclipsed this in 3 consecutive games. His role in this Denver offense is growing, and this has been a pass-heavy offense. And Sia mentioned this, and I wanted to elaborate on this. Sia likes this game for props, and I totally agree. I often talk about this concept, getting cheap pieces. This is an exact example of that. This game has a 51-point total, seemingly going to be a shootout. If you can find props like Evan Ingram at just 30.5 receiving yards in a game that's likely to feature a ton of passing volume and production, this is a great example of a cheap piece. So love Evan Ingram here.
I feel the exact same way about Marvin Mims in this game. I think that he gets involved a little bit more. He's not making the same mistakes that Troy Franklin has. Both of them could go over, it's like 30 and a half for them as far as receiving yards go. I could see both of them being involved in what should be a high-scoring game.
Dave, we'll stick with you. Another tight end with Dalton Schultz.
I love the over on Schultz. Really like him in fantasy this week, too. Who's left to catch passes in Houston's offense with Nico Collins expected to be on the shelf, suffered a concussion late on Monday night. He only has 40-plus yards in 2 games this year. There's last 2 games. He's the only one with time spent already with C.J. Stroud. I expect that chemistry to really come into play here against the 49ers, and it's really hard for Houston to run the football against anybody. The 49ers' run defense, even with all the injuries they've had, they're still pretty stiff, but they've struggled to cover tight ends. We've seen it this year, 43 or more yards to 5 tight ends, including each of their past 2 games without Fred Warner. I think Dalton Schultz is an easy one to go over. It's 43.5 receiving yards, minus 115.
All right, tight ends getting that love. Dak Prescott, we talked about at the very top of the show. I know already that Sia likes this play. Curious what you guys think. Over 1.5 touchdowns. Now, yes, they're facing Denver, and if you look at the season-long stats, Denver's the best red zone defense. But over the last 3 weeks, they are the 7th worst. Opponents scoring at a clip of 75% in the red zone. They just gave up 3 to Jackson Dart. Jalen Hurts had 2 when they were struggling at the time with their passing offense. And the other quarterbacks they faced that didn't put up any touchdowns was Jake Browning, Justin Fields, Cam Ward, and we know they just don't throw touchdowns in general. Doesn't matter who they're facing. And now you're facing a quarterback that has thrown 13 touchdowns and 0 picks over the last 4 weeks. This offense is absolutely moving with Dak Prescott under center. At least 3 touchdown passes in 4 straight games. He's second in touchdowns, only behind Matthew Stafford right now. He has cashed this line in 5 of the last 6, and they are the top offense right now when it comes to scoring red zone touchdowns. So, Sia, I know you like it. Anything you want to add there before I get the other guys' opinions?
I will add this. You know, in the NFC East and the NFL as a whole, we talk about so many quarterbacks. We talk about, of course, Jaden Daniels, Jackson Dart. He's super fun to watch. Jalen Hurts, is he good or is he not good? We're not really sure. For some reason, and I'm a Commanders fan. For some reason, we never talk about Dak Prescott. This is potentially a top 5 quarterback in the league. I think in 2025, you could make that argument, but certainly a top 10 quarterback in the league. And he gets no press whatsoever in spite of playing for, air quotes, America's team. I think it's just really interesting. Dak Prescott is a very good NFL quarterback.
Give him the respect he deserves, Proppy.
I do know a guy who was campaigning very hard at the beginning of the season for Dak Prescott to win Comeback Player of the Year. So kudos to whoever that was on this panel. Wink, wink. But I agree with Sia. Dak Prescott is.
I don't remember.
It is me.
Okay.
Dak Prescott is absolutely sensational. He has great weapons. He's firing at all cylinders. Jake Ferguson is an elite weapon in the red zone. CeeDee Lamb, as good as any receiver in the NFL right now. George Pickens, definitely a very good number 2 wide receiver. So this Dallas offense is humming. Dak Prescott's playing brilliant football right now. I do have one more prop I want to hit on real quick. It's Chris Olave. This is a guy that I've been backing a lot. I talk about negative regression candidates as that applies to Tucker Kraft. Chris Olave, still, despite these 2 previous big outings, is a positive regression candidate. His role in this Saints offense, his target share, the air yards, just everything. He has so much room for more production. And this looks like a fantastic matchup against a Bucs team where the Saints are likely to be trailing. The Bucs are also a significant pass funnel. They have a strong run defense. They're also going to be down their best pass rusher in Vita Vea. So this one checks all the boxes for me. I've been waiting for this line to populate for Olave, but I would grab this one at 61.5. I would make this line 67.5.
All right, and see, I'm going to come to you before we go to break. Shimmery DK did nothing all season, Titans 4th-round pick, but last week, 4 for 4 for 70. You like him this week?
Yeah, 4th-round pick and drafted higher than Eric Iomanner, who gets all the press for the Titans. It's certainly not Calvin Ridley these days. I don't know that Calvin's going to play. We don't have Tyler Lockett on this team anymore. And we saw DK flash last week. I like his ADOT, and therefore I like his over 26.5 receiving yards, especially when you consider this Indianapolis Colts game. Wow, what a matchup. First of all, the entire secondary is very banged up, but also a negative game script for an entire game. I mean, hold your nose here, but I don't mind Cam Ward over 199.5 passing yards. But the bottom line is I think DK's production and efficiency is going to continue to rise. I expect him to get 30-plus receiving yards.
Cam Ward is my attempts king. I don't trust the completions or the yardage, but he is my attempts king.
It's 34.5. It's high this week.
Yeah, but maybe not high enough. That's like Justin Herbert. I'm like, this number is too high, and then he always cashes it. Very different quarterbacks, though. When we come back, we're going to hit our best bets of Week 8. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on The Early Edge. Admittedly, it was a tough Week 8 slate here on The Early Edge for this squad, but we still have a ton of best bets for you. So let's run through our favorite prop bets for Week 8, starting with Alex, PropStarz sales Nick. He likes Stephon Diggs. Of course he does, with New England over on receiving yards, Evan Ingram over on receiving yards, and then it sounded like maybe Olave was one of your favorite. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is Olave your favorite, Proppy?
I actually rate these three equally.
Okay.
I adore them, the trio, equally. So
okay, we love all the kids the same. That's fair. Let's see what Uncle Dave likes this week. I know Patty Mahomes is on there, but he is fading him this week on the rush yards. Doesn't think he'll have to run it. Chase Brown over, who everybody was fading against the Steelers, and then he put up 100.
Yep.
Loves that one.
You might do it again. You might want to break out the ladder for that one.
Oh, okay. And then Hunter Henry under on tight ends week. Who does that?
Yeah.
Dave?
Dalton Schultz over, so that makes up for the Hunter Henry
Okay,
under.
that's fair. And Sia, my guy, Drake May over on completions, CD over on receiving yards, which again feels low when you consider the numbers he's put up when healthy. Malik Washington over on catches, and Shimmeray DK to have another good game. Doesn't need 70 this week, just needs 27. And then me, Bo Nix over on rush attempts for a little bit of plus money. Tucker to do his thing despite Proppy going head-to-head with me on that one. So everybody cheer for me, please. Proppy has enough wins. Dak Prescott over on passing touchdowns, and Jackson Dart, which I don't think any of us really liked, and we agreed maybe pass attempts is the better play there, but do with that what you want. And don't forget, y'all, you can find all of these plays and more on SportsLine, and you can get them before we go on this show and the market moves, maybe because we're just that sharp and everybody's betting it as we discuss it. So don't forget to do that. At the end of the show, we'll show you a QR code you can scan so that you can make sure you get into SportsLine. We'll give you a discount. But that really is crucial, is it not, Dave, trying to get ahead of the market, get these bets in as soon as possible?
Absolutely. It's the whole point of why you would subscribe to SportsLine in the first place. And it's not just for NFL picks, it's for every sport. And anything to make you a smarter bettor, you should be interested in doing. And the price can't be beat.
Yeah, Proppy, and I know obviously you do NFL. Are you doing some other sports on SportsLine?
I am indeed. I'm all systems go for NBA props as well. Great start to the season thus far. So yeah, you can get all of my picks. You can also have access to the SportsLine Discord, where I will be live in less than 10 minutes for a full hour. You can ask me anything. It's one of the many great features being a SportsLine subscriber provides you.
The man doesn't stop. See, how you doing? You betting hoops?
No, I stay off NBA for the most part, especially this time of year. So it's a lot of NFL and PGA. I've got some PGA bets out right now for the Bank of Utah Championship. So I'm covering all the bases in the Discord and on SportsLine as well.
Okay, we have a minute here. Can I ask you guys, because I went back and forth on this Derrick Henry. Like I said, a lot of running backs I loved this week with great matchups. With Lamar, it sounds like, right, he had 3 straight practices he's going to play. Do we think that stretches out the defense, soft run defense with this Bears? Does Derrick Henry get his? It's so high at 90 in the hook, and he hasn't been super consistent. Do I just leave it off the board? Any thoughts there, anybody?
It's high for a reason, because it's a great matchup for Derrick Henry. Having Lamar Jackson back certainly helps open up the running lanes as well. This Bears rush defense has been putrid. I think this is a matchup we can see the Ravens coming off the bye have a lot of success in.
On one hand, the Ravens' offensive line, it's all their week 1 starters. They're healthy. They're good to go. And Proppy's right. Having Lamar Jackson back is huge. But the Bears' run defense does deserve some credit for how they've played over the last couple of weeks. TJ Edwards has been back. Javon Dexter's been really good against the run. I don't know if I love the over on this one, actually, for Derrick Henry. I think it might be just a shade too high.
You're going under, Sia?
Yeah. Under.
Are the Ravens coming back, Lamar? Can they turn the season around?
I think there's a shot that they do. So if you're looking at some long-term bets, Ravens overs would be the play.
Okay.
I was strongly considering actually Caleb Williams against this anemic Ravens pass rush. Opted not to because I do think the amount of talent the Ravens secondary has, they're a little better than they have been.
Okay. All right, scan that QR code, like I said, to catch the early edge and all SportsLine, everything you need to catch this squad. As we always like to say, to end the show,
Let's hit it big.
Let's hit it big.
Have a great weekend, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us.